Good morning, Cougar fans. I'm here with USF head football coach Jed Stugart, coming off a win over Southwest Minnesota State last weekend, 34-26. Heading into the matchup with city rival Augustana. Coach, let's go back over last weekend's game a little bit and talk about your play on both sides of the ball. Can you just comment on how well you thought the Cougars played heading on the road to the Mustangs' home field?
Well, as far as I think I don't know that we played great. It's one of those things where I guess we didn't play where and our kids, this is kind of coming from our kids. I think they felt like we left some points out there offensively. So speaking on the offensive side, we just made a few little errors that kind of impeded us a little bit. But I tell you what, the fight in them and going into a hostile environment like that in a team that was kind of fighting for their playoff lives, we got a big target on our back, and so we went into a hostile environment. And I think sometimes, you're gonna, that makes a big difference. Defensively, I was real proud because we go into halftime holding this explosive team to 7 points, and we kind of had the second half they scored some more points on us, but the fight in our defense with a lot of adversity is something I've been real proud of. I mean, we were changing a few things for that game because of our injuries. So anytime you're kind of going into a different package, it was still within our little toolbox, but it's something that we haven't done much. That can be tough in just a few days to learn that. And so when it was all said and done, those guys fought and figured out a way to win. And so that part I'm really proud of. I mean, we've preached and preached about handling adversity, and so when you go into a place like that against I think a very good team that I think is going to shock some people this year still, and come out of that with a win. And how we did it, very pleased. But I think we take those things the miscues and stuff, and those are what we're focused on this year this week, is to get back to not making those mistakes. And I think we'll have a good week doing that. And so when it's all said and done, we're 7-0 on a team that's is battling a lot of teams that are out to get us, and I'm proud of how they're handling it.
Speaking of defense, sophomore safety, strong safety, Josh Butler had his best game as a Cougar on Saturday. 13 tackles, he had 9 solo stops, 2 forced fumbles. He had a sack, could have had a pick. He just played well. NSIC Player of the Week. Talk about Josh a little bit.
Well, Josh, I knew the moment I watched him and when we recruited him. I remember going into his high school and sitting down with him, and you just knew right away, man, we got to get this kid on our team. First of all, how he handles himself off the field. You got one of the best smiles you can see in a kid, and so I knew right away, just leadership-wise and just how he conducts himself. And then you take how he plays. He plays with a motor that just never stops, and I think to see him doing the things now that we saw in high school is really cool. And he's been a student of the game. He's learned behind some good safeties since he's been here, and now he's stepped into that role and become just an impact player back there. So real proud of Josh. It was well deserved, and he loves this team first and foremost. He's always talking about his teammates and things. So so it's well deserved.
Yeah, he's another one of the team guys. Well, you talk about a team perspective, and you can't help but look at the fact that you guys had, on both sides of the ball up front, played really well. When you had 6 sacks from 6 different players, could have had 7 sacks, and then you just got after it. And then on the offensive line side of things, and you talk about both sides of it, 258 yards rushing, averaged 6 yards a carry, held the opposition out of the backfield, kept Luke upright. I mean, 2 sacks in 7 games is really pretty incredible. Talk about the defensive pressure, and then jump over and talk about the offensive line.
Well,
Ben Blake's crew.
Yeah, we didn't get our takeaways. We've been missing that goal the last few weeks, but if you're not taking the ball away as much, but when you're getting 6 sacks, I mean, that's one of those things where, it kind of cancels the other one out, and I've been just real pleased. I mean, that was, the field position wise, as far as down and distance, I mean, when you're putting an offense like that in long yardage situations because of the sacks, were key spots. And our defensive line, because of some of the injuries that we've been dealing with in our linebacker core, the defensive line has really stepped up and been able to help with that. They're kind of I think in the trenches with O-line, D-line, they're always kind of ones that kind of get overlooked, from the stands perspective. You don't watch a lot in the trenches, but you turn on the film and you watch Marco Naughton and Grant Schindler and you watch. I just go down the list of all 8 of those guys that are just rotating in. Every one of them are making a play at some point. Wes Johnson's coming off the edge with Evan. Is always in the back of a quarterback's mind because they're getting to the quarterback a lot, and when he steps up and you got 2 tackles right there. But 4th down stops were huge. We had key 4th down stops in the start of that game that really shut down their momentum. And they said they wanted to go for it going into the game, trying to keep our offense off the field. So when your defense does that. And that's what we talk about, why this family brotherhood thing is when we got each other's back. If we're injured in one spot, then the other position's got to step up, and that's what they've been doing. Offensive line-wise, we've had players of the week and rushing and all this stuff, and it's too bad, that they need to create an offensive line or defensive line player of the week, because, those guys are the unsung heroes. And our offensive line right now is just playing outstanding. They don't care about the glory and the credit, but they love the fact that we're rushing the ball like we are, protecting Luke like they are, and I give a lot. The credit goes just how they're coached by Ben Blake up front, the offensive line, just teaching those guys. They have a clear understanding of what they're supposed to do, and that's just another example of our coaching staff doing a great job.
You can go across the whole front from Antonio Green to the captain.
Trevor,
yeah, he calls all the signals, and he's just a great leader up front. And Derek Delaney's come in this year and really played well. And then you've got everybody from Jesse Springer to Terry Huber to Trey Pipkins and others. They've really played well for you.
Absolutely.
Moving on, you didn't get a lot of special teams opportunities on Saturday, but you continue to hold your own there. Is the play of that special teams unit doing what you want to this point?
Yeah, and Eric Inama does a great job of the goals of changing field position and winning that battle. And every week right now, I think we might have been right at kind of a wash, or we might have lost that battle a little bit this week, but we haven't lost that battle very often. And a lot of that is some of the, Kyle Gronewig hasn't had a chance to return the ball here lately, and when you've had a 100-yard return, guys are going to start kicking it away from you. But Jason Towns grabbed one and had a pretty decent return, and just getting us a good field position start. We have to. We kind of let a punter run around and get a first down, and that was one of our negatives. That was a key part of the game because it was a drive they ended up scoring on, and we have to. It was coached right. We had the safeties involved and stuff in protecting that, but we got out leveraged. It wasn't that a kid wasn't there. It just went across to try to make a tackle. The kid cut it back and got the first down. So those are the little details sometimes in practice and special teams that maybe you're going through the motions, and that I'm glad that happened because that gives us a chance to give an example in practice that special teams wise we got to be specific. These kids care about special teams. Sometimes it's an overlooked deal in a lot of programs, but we in our periods of practice, our kids are focused in on it, they care about it, and Coach Inama does a good job of leading that.
Moving ahead, big week this week, as every week, you're going to try to go 1-0 again. You got the city rival, Augustana, coming to Bob Young Field. Talk about the matchup.
Well, good football team. They're averaging 40 points a game, and they're offensively, they've got some weapons that they're improving. I mean, it's one of those things where sometimes you say improving, it's teams that maybe have been toward the bottom, they're working their way up. Augustana is not improving in the sense that they've got a long ways to go. They've come, they're there, and we've got to pay attention because they do have weapons. Their quarterback's is a playmaker. He makes plays out of the pocket. We got to keep him contained. C.J. Ham's even better this year than he was last year. You can see that he looks different too in the way he runs. They've got some speed with Greenway and how they're using him out of the backfield and in their kicking game, kick return game as well. So defensively they're very sound. I mean it's one of these things you don't see a lot of exotic type of defense. They line up, their gap sound, their coverage sound, and that makes an offense work a little harder when you're when they're coached good like that. And I know that we respect that. And so it's a good football team, and I think all three phases they're very solid, and that's why there's not a lot of weaknesses. So we've got to play well and play the way we play. I think that's kind of our motto is we go out and do what we do, and make people adjust to what we do, and then we feel good that we're at home, and but our kids know that this is it's not just another game. I think. You can, if I went in there and tried to tell the kids it's just another week, just another game, they'd know I'm lying, because it's not. It's a special game. It's a rival game. It's something that we're just a few across the country that have this type of a rivalry, and so you got to embrace that and have fun. We're creating memories for these guys. They're creating memories for the rest of their life in this, and so go out and enjoy the week and embrace it.
One couple things to finish up here. A couple kids missed games over the last few weeks, but saw some action, including Max Mickey, who had 99 yards. And so you guys, you've taken some lumps this year, getting some guys back. That has to help, right? Oh
yeah, and we get David Clark back this week, and Clint Wilson will be kind of a midweek decision, game time decision too. Losing Clint in the middle, Cameron Ostrom at Sam linebacker. But getting Clark back helps in our safety rotation back there. Matt and Josh have been doing great and taking a lot of snaps. It's good to see David coming back, and just the timing's good. David's been chomping at the bit to get back in there, and that gives. I think it does bring some confidence back to our defense when you've got veterans, leaders coming back, and so I'm happy that he gets to be back playing.
This weekend is everybody knows it's the key to the city. The two teams battle for it, but it's also Hall of Fame weekend when the University of Sioux Falls Athletic Department is recognizing 7 individuals, including 3 former football players: Bob Gary, actually 4, the late Reed Byer, who I know you know.
Yep.
And his wife and Bob Young are going to accept the honor in his behalf. And then you have Bob Gary, former DB that once set the interception record, David Reuter and Kalen DeBoer, both who have played major roles in this program, including the first championship. And then of course Kalen can't be here, he's with Eastern Michigan, but nonetheless he's being honored. Anything you want to talk about with those guys?
Yeah, it just kind of the enriched heritage of our tradition. Kalen and I stay in pretty good touch and text back and forth a lot before games, and I always appreciate Kalen's love for this program, because when we get on the bus after a game, he's one of the first text messages. If they're not playing, he's always checking our score, and the support that he continues to give means a lot to me. We've become great friends through this time, and we got a chance to, this is a special week. Reed passed away after the Augustana game, and we were able to give him a game ball. My son and I, Gunnar, got to go to his house and give him the game ball from the first Augie game, and that was something that was special to him. And he ended up passing away that week, and tough. It's or soon after that, and so Reuter. You look at a kid, guy that started kind of that running back mantra of around here, of tough running backs, and you know, he's one of the first guys that, you know, that I know of that kind of set that tone. And then Coach Gary, you know, I've got to know real well through when he was coaching at Sioux Falls Christian when I first got here. Got to know him real well, and one of the most genuine, nice people that you can know, and to me, one of the funniest guys too. I always love listening to him talk, and I've enjoyed our friendship since I've been here. So we're blessed to have our football program represented, and they're all so well deserved. So it'll be a fun, special weekend.
Thanks, Jed. Fans, keep in mind, game time is 2:30 Saturday at Bob Young Field. Augustana will visit number 4 and 5 ranked University of Sioux Falls. Thanks for the time, Jed.
Thanks, Dan.